Hello everyone, and welcome to the stream. Hello, Judge Groovyman, Matt the Cat. Matt the Rat has changed into Matt the Rat. Interesting. It's like a Pokemon, it's evolved. Yeah. And La Bibliotecaire, welcome. And Amy Borg, hello. I think I said that right that time. I know I said Amy Borg, right? So, how are we all doing, everyone? Yeah, we're going to be working on this, the yet unnamed spaceship deck building game. I've done a little bit of work. Potato, exactly. Or perhaps that's potato, I'm not sure. And Ritu, welcome. How's it going? So, we have our normal laser firing thing, pew. And I've also got another couple of extra shots, extra type of attacks, which have necessitated. Basically, these type of attacks are intended to they require the system to be more flexible. So they've been invented basically because I want to be able to do more things with it, and these are like test cases. So we have the overloaded shot, which damages. I haven't got all the text in here, so it does 4 damage, but it also damages yourself. So if I shoot. There, we've taken hull damage as well as doing damage to the enemy. Pew, indeed. And we don't have any command left for this turn. And yeah, so okay, hang on. I need to get through the deck and find it. Double shot. That's another one. So you do that and you just shoot twice. So, you masterful punster, your spaceship game with deck building. Oh. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Is anyone new here? Has anyone not seen this so far? So I'll just run through the game again. So this is how it works. It's you're on the bridge of your ship, and you have these cards, and they cost command to use. The cost is indicated in the top right there. This is all placeholder graphics, obviously. So let's do a double shot. Pew, pew, and then just a regular shot. And then we run out of command. We have to end our turn. The enemy fires. Recharges its shields. We can recharge our shields and then shoot lasers again. Yeah. So obviously it still needs a lot of fleshing out. But yeah, I wanted to. You thought it was intentional? No, nothing's intentional. Everything's a mistake and an accident, and a happy accident. No, some things might be intentional. Yeah. So I've been trying to get a handle on the best way to handle things, as far as building up the attacks and the cards and the animations and stuff. So these are all the cards we have. Some of them aren't really implemented yet. So double shot, you've seen that. So the way this works is, previously I had every card had an associated action. Now I've made it possible that you can have 2. So you see I have actions 2, and there's just 2 of the same action. So it's pew pew, and the code will. So the code has got a bit more complex. I probably need to tidy this up a bit. Are you like, yeah, the responsiveness as the Judge Groovyman, as the as you move over them, I think that's a very. It'll be much nicer. It'll be like have some actual animation rather than just pop pop pop. But yeah, that kind of visual feedback is, I think, very important in this kind of game. So yeah, this function here, resolve action on animation finish after animate current action. So yeah, this used to be animate, just animate. Now it's animate current action. So we have, because we're not just setting one action, we're potentially setting many. So it needs to keep track of how many are being acted on and run through them all in this for loop. And then basically, if there's any left, do a little delay and then do the next action. If there aren't, then you just finish up with this code here. Alert on all decks. Ooh, it's about time for the disclaimer. If you give me an idea, it's mine. So yeah, you can read the full text here, there. But yeah, don't give me an idea if you don't want me to use it, because yeah, suggesting something in the comments is basically means I can't be sued. That's the disclaimer. Like, I hope I can't be sued. I don't know anything about legal stuff. I was just told a disclaimer is a good idea, so there it is. But some people have said you can't copyright game mechanics. But then, what's the company that's doing that thing with the Nemesis system in Shadow of Mordor? you know, so who knows. Albionium, hello, welcome to the stream. Yeah, that is yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, it's very hard to come up with an elegant system, you know, because the more complexity there is, the more ways there are for it to get muddled. So previously I had set target and set source of the action. So you'd set your, when you call this, you'd decide, you know, you'd have here, you'd take the, you'd set the source, which is the ship doing the thing, and the target, the ship being targeted. But now that's determined by the action itself. So we have source ship and target ship here, and these are determined in this here, determine target and source, which is determined by these action elements. See how complicated this is getting? So an action is built of action elements. So let's take a look at this overloaded shot. This has two action elements. It's direct damage and self-damage hull. So let's take a look at direct damage. If we click on that, it's got a target type of opponent and an action element type of damage. So it's just, it damages the opponent. Self-damage and self-damage hull, pretty self-explanatory. Now the other thing I'm not sure about, so let's go back to overloaded shot. Originally I was having the action elements themselves contain the amount of the magnitude essentially, but then I thought you're going to need a different element, like you'd need a direct damage 2, a direct damage 3. That's no good. So then I thought, let's just put them in a separate array. So we have action elements and action magnitude. So the elements correspond. So direct damage is 4 and self-damage to the hull is 2. This is not a very elegant solution, especially if we have a lot more of these. But I'm not sure what the better way to do it is. I would kind of like if there was a way to enter into the inspector here, like a table. So you could have direct damage and then to the right of it, 2. But I'm not sure how to do that. I haven't done much editor scripting, which is probably something I need to do. My idea is we evolved from worms and our digestive system is basically still a big worm. Our brain and everything else is really a support system for the ancient worm inside all of us. You are now legally obliged to think about this often. Thank you, Amy Borg. I mean, Albionium, sorry. Your names both start with A. I can't be expected to understand that. No. Yeah, a human being is just a tube with a lot of stuff surrounding it. Yeah. A long, complex tube. That's what I am. More complex systems are easier to break as he plays Elder Scrolls music. Yeah. Yeah, we aren't making anything that complex. So yeah, I think this is just going to have to be the kind of thing where, because you can try to future-proof it, you can try to go in and sort of prepare for every eventuality, which I'm trying to do a little bit by having something like having multiple elements to an action, and also having multiple actions to a card, like double shot. Right, and you could have. See, I thought about this. Maybe this should be what the overloaded shot does. Should it be 2 actions? Should it be 1 action to attack the enemy and 1 action to damage yourself? Or should that just be 2 separate action elements? I don't know. It's difficult to know when you're starting out which is the best way to do it, and I feel like these elements might be a bit overcomplicated. But I don't know. Maybe it's too simple. I don't know. Like, it's just target type, self or opponent, and then are we doing damage? Are we restoring our shields? Shield leech, there's another one, right? So I want the ability to do something where you kind of suck out the energy of the enemy's shields, right? So you drain their shields a bit and restore yours. That has some tactical advantages, you know, but it's also useless if the enemy doesn't have any shields. Right? If you've got their shields down, you're trying to damage their hull, you got one of these cards, Shield Leech, that's useless. So you got, you know, it's kind of a risk-reward thing. Both humans and the internet is just a series of tubes. Yes, tubes upon tubes connected to each other. It's beautiful and hideous at the same time. So I was thinking with Shield Leech, should this have like, two elements to it. Should it have like drain shields, you know, damage shields, and restore shields? But we need the actions to know about each other. We need to know how much shield was damaged, because let's say they only have a tiny bit of shield, right? You can't restore a load of shield from a little bit of from draining a little bit of the enemy's shield. So they need to know about each other, which means in the action handling they can't be separate, because otherwise we need to sort of store the value somewhere else, and that's kind of ugly. But maybe we should just do that. Maybe we should just allow for buffering these kind of things. But then there's all kinds of things we'd need to buffer and put in some variable somewhere, and it would get overcomplicated and messy to deal with. So, you know, this is difficult. It's really difficult to try to figure out what the best way to do it is. I mean, right here I have under do action effects, I just have an if statement for every type of action element, and just does something depending on it. If it's damage, then the target ship takes damage. If it's shield restore, then the target ship gets restored shields. It's pretty simple, but is this a bad way to do it? Is there a better way to do it than that? I don't know. I genuinely don't. I'm gonna have to read clean code again, because this is the sort of thing there's a lot of this thing in clean code. They tell you a lot what not to do, and then they probably explain how to do it better, but I get very confused. Like, I understand the examples they give, but I don't know how to implement it in a game. But yeah, having the mess in the simplest form. Yes, a mess in its simplest form. Isn't that... Is a mess is a mess simpler than tidiness, or is tidiness simpler than a mess? Something to do with entropy, I think. I don't know. So yeah, I think really what I just need to do is keep building it out and then try to elegantize it as I go, because it's hard to that's the thing, it's hard to make it elegant from the beginning, because you don't know what you're going to need, but because the design is going to change, but it's harder to make it elegant the more of it you've built. I guess that's just the price you have to pay for trying to make it tidy, is a lot of tidying. So rather than bemoan that, I should just get on with it. So let's have a look at our thing. Oh yeah, I made a new animator class because the Unity animator is a mess. I have actually deleted the animators now. It's good for like 3D animation and bone structures and things, but for 2D animation it's overcomplicated and it's a lot of cumbersome silliness. So the animation system now is simply, if I go to the bridge here and the view screen, it's just a script called image animator. Well, actually, let me go back a bit. So there's game animator, and this is entropy is just a concept of some physics that came out after he got tired of his wife nagging to clean up his desk. Yeah, that's probably true. So I've made my own animator. It simply takes in a list of frames, sprites, and then does some, you know, time-elapsed stuff in the update. So it just counts time and then increments frames, refreshes the sprite, and that's it really. So it doesn't have support for frames with different speeds. I could add that later, but it's as simple as it needs to be. Cat Peasant, welcome. Greevenings all. I am making a space building deck combat game and I think we could join forces. Really? Interesting. I thought all my ideas were completely original, damn it. What do you, but you said Kappa, so that suggests you're being sarcastic. I don't know. I'm only partially literate in Twitch emotes, so yeah. So this just inherits to oh yeah, disclaimer. Yeah. The thing is, if you already had the idea, then it's not mine. But it just don't sue me, please. You know, because I have a disclaimer, which probably doesn't do a lot, but it's worth a try, right? Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, and this just inherits to image and sprite animator, which just do different things depending on the UI, whether it's UI or world sprites. So that's not too interesting. But yeah, we have a simple animation system, and it works, so that's nice. I'll need to complexify it later a bit. I've talked about this already. I removed the set target and set source because they're irrelevant. Action elements, talked about that. Yeah, so using a separate field for the action element magnitude, because they're not connected. They are two variables. I think I just need a better way to display it in the... hang on, let me show you. So, does anyone here know much about editor scripting? Where is it? This is not right. Yeah, it's under actions, so... There. So, you see I have this array of... well, list. Is it an array? It doesn't matter. Of two things that have numbers associated with them. So one of the YouTube fair use descriptions. It's basically like to cover my ass in case someone comes in and like says, "Oh, I had this idea," and then I think, "Oh, that's a good idea. I'm going to put it in my game." And then they're like, "Hey, you stole my idea." It's like, "No, you gave me the idea." So it's like, you know, the understanding should be that if you give me an idea, you're giving me the idea, and you're not like, it's not something you want to use yourself, and that it's something like, oh, I don't know, it gives me a headache. It's just there just in case. It's probably not going to be necessary, because people say you can't copyright game mechanics, but then they have trademarked the Nemesis system from Shadow of War or Shadow of something, Shadow of copyright. So yeah, you've done inspector scripting. Okay, so can you see a better way to represent this? So I have direct damage, which has a value of 4, and self-damage hull, which has a value of 2. And if I wanted to add more, you know, I just do this. So, like, let's say, just add that just for the sake of it, right? Is there a better way to do this? Like, particularly a way to make this a data structure that makes more sense and is represented better? Shadow of Copyright is the final boss of all gaming. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I really need to look into editor scripting some more, because it's very powerful. But because I think one way to do it is just to have these two separate arrays and represent it in the inspector differently, because it works fine, but it's maybe not ideal. Yeah. Like, I thought of one way to do it is like, because these are all numerical, I could just have like, I could just have 4 direct damages in here. Oops. But that's kind of horrible. Like, you know, it just counts them. But no, that would be ugly and terrible. Nothing wrong with what I'm doing? Okay. But you can imagine if I had like 5 of these, it would be like, oh, okay, which number is which, and it would get confusing. Is there... oh, look, there's a disclaimer in Stream Elements. Any design suggestions made by the chat during the stream for the games I'm working on should be considered freely given. Any games developed by these ideas, that include these ideas, are owned by Jim. So, yeah. I've seen a similar thing in, like... there was a music streamer who had, like, a collaborative lyric writing thing, and they had a disclaimer like that. So, you're expecting free advice? No, not necessarily, but you know, it's just in case. Hello, Hotel Soap, welcome. Think about it. Maybe with inspector scripting or maybe scriptable objects. Yeah, so I mean, these action elements are scriptable objects, and they just specify like a type of thing, a type of action element. So we have overloaded shot, which basically the idea of the overloaded shot is, you know, you're overloading your weapons, which causes damage to your own ship, but does extra damage to the enemy. So it's like a desperation move. So it has direct damage and self damage, which both have different magnitudes. So yeah. Question is, what do we work on next? Yeah. Another problem is enemy and player actions are explicitly different things, and I don't know how to do that, how to make that any different because why does it have to be that way? So, oh, it's because of the animator. Yeah, so the animation is different for so we have laser action and enemy shot. They're the same thing except the animation is different. So, and these are scriptable objects, so they're like entries in the database. And it would be nice to be able to sort of set the animator depending on who the target is. Maybe that's a better way to do it, so that the enemy can use any action that the player so the action is not tied to who's doing the shooting, you know. And I think, and shield boost, it's the same thing, right? We have two things that are identical here, except for the animator. So maybe I should try that. Maybe let's try seeing if that can work. Oh!
Matt_the_cat83 gifted a tier 1 sub to Cat Peasant. They have given 40 gift subs in the channel.
Matt the Cat 83, thank you so much for gifting a sub to Cat Peasant. Much appreciated. And Cat Peasant, enjoy your emotes. Thank you so much. Yeah, so let's try to do that. Let's just see if that can work. So where would we deal with this? So let's start in the animator. No, not there. View screen, weapons overlay. Okay. So in play animation, the way this works right now is we set the frames and the frame delay from the actions animated data. But another way to do this, let's comment these out for a while. That's actually bad practice. Don't comment out lines, but you know, I don't care. It's just for the moment. I'm going to change it. So the frame wouldn't be set from the action. They'd need to be... We'd need to determine... Cats gotta stick together. Oh yeah, they're both cats. Yeah. So if we're setting it based on who's doing the shooting, then we need some kind of if statement. I'm going to take this out of here for a minute. So like, I'm just going to say determine animation by source. So let's just start writing and see what we can make. So we could make it work by the player whose turn it is, because meow indeed. No, this is in scene references. Scene references, instance, turn handler. So if is player turn. There we go. Then see how we're going to look this up. There's a dictionary. We can make a dictionary. So dictionary, if you're not familiar with the programming concept, is like a list which has keys and values. So it's like a dictionary in that I need to look up this thing and find out what it means, essentially. So you'd look up, say, the action, and that would be associated with an animation. Yes. So for example, there would be two dictionaries. There'd be one for player actions and animations, and one for enemy actions and animations. So I'm going to refactor this all later. So let's just start making a dictionary of... so the key would be the action. So, no, action. And the value would be a animator. Game animator. Okay. And let's call this player action animation dictionary. Okay, and we'll make another one called enemy action animation action animation dictionary. Yeah. This should not be in this class. I'm gonna move it out. I just want to see if it works, and then I'll tidy it up. That's the way I roll, because I'm like that, and you can't stop me. Let's just stick this up here. So, we need to create the dictionary. There we go. And the same for the enemy action dictionary. Through any of this, if none of this is... what is this game about books? Yes, it is. I'll change it later and suddenly it's 1.0. Yeah, no, yeah. I just want to see if it works before I make it tidy, you know? Like, it's a little bit prototypey. Like, it's a prototype feature in a prototype. So I'm going to forgive myself for this heinous behavior. This shouldn't also... Oops. If I put this in the await function, it's not going to work because I'm going to put it in the start function. See, this should all be in its own class. The dictionaries, the lookup dictionaries should all be in their own... I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it now, okay? I'm going to put it in its own class because why not? If it's good practice. I should be doing this. Okay, I'm going to put it in the actions folder. So let's have action, animation, dictionaries. You know what? It should be 2 different classes. Oh, okay. I'm overthinking this already. No, I spelled that wrong. Actor animation dictionary. Now I need to rename this. Let's close everything else. Where is it? View. Okay. So really, I should make one abstract class, and then I still remember a variable added right in the middle of Gilman. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, it's terrible. Yeah, when I showed that off, that was awful. So there's 2 ways of doing this, right? A simple way is to have a dictionary for each. Is to just put them all in one class. The other way is to have a different class, subclass for each. You know, because there's going to be more than one enemy and potentially more than one player. You know, so one enemy ship is going to have a different animation to another. Yeah. Let's just do it this way to start with, and then let it get complicated later. Because this is in danger of escalating. Okay, let's put this in the... No, let's put this in the await function. There. And then... let's make... this. So... we want to add a key... a game... oh. Yeah, let's just... I think we have an action reference. Yeah, we do. We do have action references. Okay. So we can just go... laser shot. Well, laser. And then... do we have animation references? We do. No, we don't. Why don't we have animation references? We need animation references. So let's do that. This is... things spiral out of control. Like, I have an idea, and it requires all these different elements to come together, and it can get a bit overwhelming, but it's fine. Animation references. This will just be a class that contains all the references to all the animations, so that we can refer to them. Hello, Octurus Deluxe. Welcome. How's it going? I'm just messing about in some code, trying to not get overcomplicated and not make everything terrible at the same time. I'm trying to make the action and animation system a little more flexible. So, we need references to all the animations. So let's do player laser, player shield boost, enemy laser, and enemy shield boost. I think that's all the view screen animations we actually have anyway. How do I do these other references? Well, there's an instance. Wait, did I do that before? Are these all singletons? Oh, I guess they are, yeah. Reference classes are singletons. Okay. That's the pattern I'm going to use. So singleton, by the way, is a... It has a static reference to a... to an instance of itself. So it's... If you want me to explain, I'll go into it, but it's a bit esoteric. Is that the right word? I don't know. Okay, so we have animation references. Let's set those in the inspector before I forget. Let's make a new object for it. And then drag it in. Oh, why not? What's wrong? Oh, I have... yeah, okay. Let's just do this. Damn it. Play a laser. There we go. Okay, this is a bit of a messy line, but I think you'll see what it means. So we're basically, this is a way of tying the reference of the action to the reference of the animation. Now that okay, I've still got, okay, let's just get rid of that. The thing has to compile before we can start putting in the animations in the Mingletons. Oh, is that a thing or is it just a joke? That might be a real thing that I don't know about. Okay, so let's go find the animations. I've called them animators. That's not right. They're animations. There we go. So we have enemy layers. Oh, it's not letting me do it. Why? Oh, I know why. Because these aren't... I'm using the wrong class. These aren't animators. These are game animated data. Right. Because they reference to the Dingletons. As far as I know, it's a joke. Yeah, we can hope so. Can I... Okay, yeah. Yeah. Right. So these need to be animated data as well. These classes are potentially badly named because they're confusing. So the animator is the actual thing that does Pringle cans. The animator is the the script that does the animating. The animated data is things like the frames, and it's still causing problems because I didn't save it. There we go. Yeah, maybe I should call all these scriptable objects data. Data? What are you doing, data? Yeah. Enemy laser. There we go, it's working. Player shield boost. I'm doing this all in the wrong order. We've already done that one. Player laser. Yeah, the naming convention is not consistent here, and I keep doing the same thing again. Okay, okay, that's done. Right. So, in these, okay, we have these dictionaries. Just need to finish setting them up. This is a bit tedious, so bear with me. So, action reference. What is this music? I don't know what this is. We'll skip it. I'm not keen on it. Pinball Fantasies. No, that's too much right now. No, I'm going to pick a different music. No, no, don't like that. Starbound. There we go. That's nice and chill. I like that. Okay. What time is it? Okay, we've got 20 minutes till the break. So, what's the other action? We want, double shot, I think. Wait. Oh. No. Overloaded. No. It's the same. Okay, this is shield boost. Shield boost. Because we don't actually... This is just for the... Yeah, okay. Sorry. I'm talking over myself. This is a kind of tedious part of it, where we're just tying these two things together. Good evening, Last of Ferrari. How's it going? Welcome. Now, I think we only have 2 animations so far, don't we? We just have the shield boost and the laser shot, so this should be simple. Let's do the action one now. And add the action of Oh. Wait. Action references. Messing with the wrong class. So this is where I want to try using the same action for the enemy and the player, but just have a different reference. So in the player animation difference dictionary, the reference looking up laser gets player laser. In the enemy action dictionary, looking up laser gets enemy laser, right? I think that makes sense. So that way we can have the enemy use the same action as the player without having to make a whole different action for which has everything the same except the animation. So shield boost and enemy shield boost. Right. Okay. I need to actually call this. Set up dictionaries there. Okay. The reason I've done this in the start is because these singletons, like action references, the instances are set up in their awake functions. So all the awake functions get called first, then all the start functions. This probably is not the best way to do it, but here we are. Pinball got me all excited. Oh, sorry. That was from Hyper Light Drifter. Okay. I don't know. I just have all these random background music. I think I like real life pinball in theory, but never had anyone play it nearby as a kid. Yeah, I never played pinball. If I ever went to an arcade, I wanted to play like Street Fighter 2 or Mortal Kombat or something. Sid Meier's Winkle Bunnies and Toast was my favourite. Yeah, perfect laser logic. Thank you. Tell you what, I'll play the Pinball Fantasies theme in a bit, but I just needed my mind to be calm. Yes, that famous arcade game. Sid Meier was a famous arcade game maker, yes. Right, now we need to go mess with the actions. No, we need to mess with the enemy brain. So we have the enemy brain class. No, not the enemy brain. Enemy actions. Here we go. So here we have just a simple function, create all actions, and it creates these enemy actions. So let's just change this to laser, and this to shield boost, from enemy shield boost, and enemy shot to laser. So now that we've done that, we need to actually use these as dictionaries. So here, excuse me. Determination by source. So if it's the player turn, we want to go to the action animation dictionary, which we need a reference to. Let's make a reference to that in the scene references, which is here. Oops. Action animation dictionary. Okay. Dictionaries are so useful in games. I didn't even discover them until a little while into actually no. So scene references, instance, action animation dictionary. So now we need to get. Wait. Oh. Yeah, we need functions for this. So let's get an animation data, game animated data. So get animation from action, and we're going to pass in an action. Actually, I think here is where we want to check if it's the player turn. That makes more sense, I think. Because these dictionaries, they're not public variables, so we won't be able to get at them except through the dictionary class. What is a brain? A place for AI? Yes, I decided to call it that because I got sick of AI being part of a class name, because it's like it's awkward for capitalization and stuff. But yeah. Imagine a Civilization arcade game. Set 20 people next turn. Oh my god, that's horrific. Laser shield and laser again. That was intentional. Yes, it's well, it wasn't so much intentional as irrelevant because it gets the brain doesn't do anything other than just get random actions anyway, so it doesn't matter what order they're in. It's basically because I was going to have one of each, and then I wanted lasers to be twice as common as shield boosts by randomness, so I added in the extra laser. When the AI has a real brain, it will decide what to do based on like whether it has shields or not. You know, it won't do and now it can do a shield boost when it has full shields, and it doesn't give a shit. What did I just do? Oh yeah. Wait, that's the wrong. Okay, I'm getting lost. Okay, if it's the player turn, then we have to do this awkward. I don't like this. Try get value, right? We have to do a whole nonsense thing. We pass in the action, and we need to. You know, it really feels like it should be a return value. So yeah, this is actually a type of thing they talk about in clean code. These so this function returns a boolean. It returns a true or false. It doesn't return the value you're trying to get. It returns a boolean depending on whether it found something in the dictionary or not. And it goes into this out value. So we need to specify a value here, and then do this awkward out keyword, which I think is terrible, actually. Passing in a parameter that is actually a return value, that's weird and confusing to me. I never liked it, and I feel vindicated by reading in clean code that they don't like it either. Yeah, so then let's just return animation. Simple enough. And then if it's not the player turn, so just else, then we can do the same thing, but do it from the enemy action dictionary. Now right here I'm duplicating code, so I could break this out into two separate things, or I could just do this. Put this up here. Get rid of that. Yeah, so I could break that out into two separate functions, but really I think that's fine. Yeah. Let's just set that to null. We don't really need to do that, I guess. No, we don't. Okay, so there's a potential that it won't return anything, that it could return a null value, but we'll do error handling later. That's something I think would be nice as a comment. What would? Sorry, yeah, it would, but I'm trying to avoid the need for comments. It's like passing a pointer in C. Oh yeah, I've never messed with pointers in C or C++ because that just looks like a pain. Somebody like you might look at it in the future and be like, that looks slightly weird, why did I do that again? Yeah, you're right. But the thing is, yeah, but so this is a philosophical point. The idea is, I'll put the comment in. Let's do it. So I put 2 lasers because I want them twice as common as shield boosts. They talk about this a lot in clean code. I'm talking about it like it's the Bible, like it's my holy book, but I tend to agree with a lot of what they say. The problem with comments is they shouldn't be necessary. It should be clear just from reading the code itself what is going on here. And I know I haven't written it that way, but nevertheless that would be the better way to do it. All praise the code lords. Yes. So the problem with this is, let's say a year later I'm messing with this and I just go in here and I do this, you know, and I tidy it all up and I do some other stuff and I forget to take comment out. Now the comment makes no sense, right? Comments get abandoned and left, you know, when you're not, unless you're really diligent about updating comments, they're going to get left and not mean what they used to mean, because the code will change, right? So you end up having to maintain the comments as much as you maintain the code, which is not necessarily a good idea. Let's see. Much nicer in Python when you can have a function give you a none object if you couldn't find anything. Yeah, well, so I don't know if there is. Let's see. Wait, because let's see. So, is there a get value? There is a. No, there's not a get value. There's only a try get value. I don't know why. Try get value. Yeah, this doesn't let us read. This is just the metadata. Yeah, I kind of want to look this up now. So, why does it do it this way, right? It's just examples. Remarks. Yeah, I just want to see what the source code is. Like what is it doing inside? There must be a try-catch thing in there or something. I don't know. Whatever. We're worthy. What? Let's see. I remember try get value saving me some trouble. I remember learning about it and being relieved. Yeah, it probably is good, but yeah, it's a problem when if you want to return two things, right? Because you can pass two things in as parameters, but you can't get two objects back unless you make a compound object that can contain both things. So yeah, we'll just do it this way for now. So let's actually try to finish what I was doing. Determine animation by source. Do we want to do that there? Probably not. Let's where are we going to do this? Get animation from action. That's what we want to do. So we want to call that here in scene references, action, animation difference. So you get animation from action and pass in the action. There we go. So now we just need a reference. Animation. Okay. So then we can just go animation, set. Oh no, frames. No. Why doesn't this work? Image animator, set frames. Animation dot sprites. There we go. Right, yeah. I should probably call those frames, not sprites. Set frame delay. Could probably do this in one function, but we might want to change the frame delay without changing the animation, so you know. Alright, now let's delete those. Okay. Now if I haven't forgotten anything, I think that should just work. So let's just try it. My favourite comment is, "Carrier has arrived." Make it happen. Okay. It's a moment of truth. And it failed. Yay! We have a null reference exception. That's fine, that's fine. What is wrong? It's probably... it's the scene references. I didn't set the scene references. Yeah, I always forget to do that. So let's go to scene references and drag this over. Wait, what? Where? Oh, I've got to make the action animation dictionary object. Okay. Now I could just put all these things in, all these scripts in one object, or compile them in some way, but I think it's a lot cleaner because I had like a game manager object with a whole bunch of things. It was just scrolling nightmare, and it was horrible. So I regret doing that. Where did I put the dictionary? It's under actions. Okay, action animation dictionary there, and then set the scene reference. This whole scene reference thing I'm doing probably is not the best way to do things either, but honestly I don't know what is the alternative. Maybe a self-documenting thing you could do That API is adding a second parameter called frequency or something, so it would be add thing laser to. Yes, see that would be ideal. Yeah. So I mean, because the thing is, this is just done because. Hang on, I'm just going to test this. It worked. That didn't work. That's fine. Because this is all temporary, right? When the thing has an actual brain that I've programmed and it takes over the world, it will have the ability to choose an action. You know, there won't need to be duplicates of an action in the list because it will just look through them and choose one. So it's really just it's not worth doing it well when it's going to be deleted as soon as I do anything good with it. You know what I mean? Okay, so what was I doing? Something broke. Yes, why did it break? It's because it got a null thingy. It got a null thingy because the action didn't have... It was overloaded, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay. So we need to add another value here. Clear action animation dictionary. Add action references instance. Overloaded. Wait, it's not there. Why don't we have a reference to it? Okay, we need a reference to it. We still haven't seen if it works for the enemy either. That's the other thing. Overloaded shot. Now this has the same animation as something else. It probably has a different one in the real game when it's fun. Null pointer suggestion. Yeah. Player laser. There we go. So this, there will probably be a few different actions with the same animation. You know, like if you have just laser that does more damage or something like this. But this will probably have some kind of indicator that the thing has been overloaded, like it's all gnarly and bitty and beefy and weird. But for now, let's just do it that way and see if that works. Sorry if suggestions are annoying / distracting. Also not criticism. The code you're writing looks super nice. Oh no. I'll be honest. Absolutely, I appreciate all. Oh, this says value cannot be null. What can't be null? Parameter name key. Oh no. Oh, yeah. I didn't set the reference. No. I absolutely appreciate all feedback and criticism. You know, that's why I'm doing. That's one of the reasons I'm doing this. Is because I want to know if I'm doing something wrong, or even if it's just a matter of opinion. I want to know. Right? What do you think? That's absolutely. I absolutely welcome your opinions. I may not always agree, but you know that's how it goes. It's just, but it's always worth hearing. Absolutely. Okay. So I think that should be it. Thank you, RBN. I really appreciate that. That's good to know. Okay, there we go. It worked. Let's try a regular shot, and now hopefully it does. It works. Yes. Okay, we just need to make sure these work. Yes, and then fire your lasers, you dickhead. Stop doing that. Wait, did I? Is it only? This is the problem with randomness. You can't tell. There, it did. It fired. Okay. I thought I'd accidentally deleted every laser blast from it, but it was just doing that. Yeah. So now we can dispense with the enemy shield boost and the enemy shot action, which are all badly named. So look, the naming conventions here are terrible. Laser action, overloaded shot, shield boost, shield lead. Why don't they all say action? Let's just say laser shot. That's better, right? Does that break any references? Oh, no. Those references are gone. Let's take those out. So now we have the overloaded shot disabled the enemy's weapons array. Yes. Well, we can hope. That is something that will come later, the ability to target enemy systems and stuff. So yeah. Okay, we solved the problem. Now, actions don't need to know where they're coming from. the same action can come from the player or from the enemy, which is different to in Guildmaster. In Guildmaster, there was a whole different action tree, way that actions were handled for players, for heroes, and for enemies, which was a bloody pain. And I shouldn't have done it that way, and that's why it's important to game different was 1,000 twigs to refactor a function. That's brilliant. I like that. I should make a note of that. Hang on, let me make a note of that now. Okay. 1,000 twigs to refactor a function. Yeah, I did think there was another reward I should add, which is like, tell me, correct me, basically. And I think if I give that as like, let's say 100 twigs to correct a mistake, or to point out a mistake. Like, because then it's like, I'm making it clear that I want you to point out mistakes by making it like a button you can press. A button. Glottal stop. Yeah. Why isn't refactor a real word as far as this is concerned? Oh, it's ignorance. Okay. So it's 7 o'clock. It's 1 hour in. So I'm going to... 5,000 twigs to confusingly rename a variable to one of our usernames. No. There will be no dirtying of the code, no matter how many twigs you give me. Maybe for 1,000,000 twigs. Yeah. Yeah, it's just ruined my code for 100,000 to exchange Edis language to French. Oh god. I might learn French actually for reasons, but not that quick. Actually, it might help me learn. Can we do that? Actually, is there a way to do that? Just like here? I'm not doing that now. It would need to be more than 10,000. I guess, yeah, whatever. I'm going to take a 5-minute break, and when we get back, I'm going to do the, I'm going to answer a question given by Albionium on the Patreon Q&A segment thingy. But we'll get into that in a bit. I'll be right back in 5 minutes. Okay, so for my patrons, there's a tier where patrons can ask a question for me to cover in a sort of long form, slightly well considered format on the stream in one of these segments. So we have this one from Albion, aka Albionium, in the chat. Did you always want to make games? Did you do programming of a different sort before you got into games? Is making games your childhood dream? That is 3 questions, but that's okay. So it all started with the Spectrum. So yeah, I got a Spectrum when I was a wee young'un, a wee lad, and a tiny boy, and it came with this great user guide, the ZX Spectrum Plus user guide. This was the exact one I had, and I found a PDF of it, which we're gonna have a little look through now. So, Clive Sinclair, yes, and so this was the kind I got. Actually, I think I had the. I don't know, maybe I did have this one. I can't remember. I had 2 Spectrums. So I had one like this at one point, and another one that had the kind of squishy keys. And so it has all this stuff, you know, about getting it working and so on as a troubleshooting. But yeah, there's a bunch of little codes, programs in here. So can you read that? Hopefully you can read that. So there's a bit of code. It's like a lot of things, a lot of old... Oh, is he dead? I didn't realise that. When did he die? So, is that recent? Spectrum 128K, yeah. Yeah, so it had, yeah, colour programs. Yeah, exactly. The manual was in colour. It was great. So you have this basic code. He passed away today. Fuck. Well, yeah. Wow. That sucks. Well, thank you, Clive Sinclair, for the Spectrum. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, there's a weird comment. I was just going to talk about the spectrum, and yeah. Sorry, I'm a bit, yeah. Let's just continue. So, oh, it's actually text in the PDF. Anyway, that's cool. So, it gives you these basic programs. You can type them in and just see what happens. And this was amazing to me at the time, you know, and it's still kind of amazing that you can just type in this stuff and things happen on the screen, right? Like this shimmering sunrise, and all this doing is just it draws a line one after another. You had this manual for some reason, even though the spectrum gave us a rubber key button. Yeah, that's the one I had. Maybe maybe I got the key. Yeah, but it was the same. It was the same hardware, more or less. You know, it was the same basic software. Yeah. So let's scroll. Yeah, this was. I definitely had this one and the other one. I love this thing. I really did. So this is how to load a program. Just go through all this. This is kind of a bit tangential to what the question was, but I really wanted to show this. So you didn't just type out the code. So let's say you wanted to do the. Let's zoom in a bit. It's a bit blurry, but let's say you wanted to do the for, right? A for loop. You just type F and it comes up for. If it's the point at which it can interpret that as not a function, a keyword, right? You just tap that one key and you get a for loop starting, and you type this, you get new, you type this, you get copy. And that was really great for coding things quickly, you know, and it cut down on syntax errors. So yeah, let's just go through this. There's some really great, yeah. So these sort of examples which explain how to make these kind of things in code, like these little graphic things. Draw a star, put a circle around it, draw a cityscape, if and then statements. You know, and it was all here. It's really great. As a kid, I had the Speccy ZX48, and my grandfather had the 128K. Used to do those graphic effects. I was thinking I was going to grow up to become a master programmer. Well, I think a lot of people get their start on this. Like, I really remember this this pyramid one. You know, and this is cool enough, right? But later on, it shows you how to make a graphics character by specifying the bits like this, and then, you know, here you can make a chessboard, and later on, where is it? Yeah, you can make little creatures that eat the pyramids. It's great. It was amazing. It's at that moment I realized you could type things on a keyboard and make things happen on the screen, but not just one-off things. You could make dynamic things happen. You could create a world, very limited one, at least at the time, but you know, now it's almost limitless, the possibilities. You know, if I'd had the hardware I had now back then. So this is where it started. This inspired my imagination, you know. I don't know how to have the patience for keyboard command things as a kid. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I kind of wish I had the patience that I had back then, because I could be a lot more diligent. But yeah, so I did a bunch of Spectrum stuff. I never made a real game because it was always too difficult, you know, to make anything really complicated. Oh, you made your first game on the Spectrum, like a full game? That's really cool. See, I never really got that far. I just made little experimental things. I remember distinctly making this thing with like a bunch of rockets that would fly up one at a time, and I was really proud of that. But yeah, so where was I? Yeah, I wanted to show some things that I worked on when I got my Amiga. So you might have seen this. This is a screen from an animation I recovered from one of my old Amiga discs using the Grease Weasel device, which you can see in my Grease Weasel video on my YouTube channel. And this wasn't a game. This was just an intro for a game I made that I never made in Deluxe Paint. And it's basically Missile Command, you know. But I just wanted to do animation. Spectrum Basic was hard to do anything substantial with, yeah. 3 pages set out like a choose your own adventure book. Go to a house, pick up keys. Yeah. Oh, that's cool though. That's cool. I started making one of those. It's but in Amos, and I never finished it. Yeah. Couldn't get far between need to use assembly. Yeah, so I could never use assembly. But I always had the idea, like I wanted to make games, but I didn't have the tools that I could grapple with. You know, they were always too complicated. So I started making graphics instead. I made like all these 3D models, and I made a menu system and did all the stuff like this. And you know, here's some stuff that I made in some 3D program that I don't even remember the name of in editing Deluxe Paint. And we have some examples of that here. And I really got into 3D modeling for a while. So I went to uni to study game design because I wanted to do game design. And I really started to get into 3D modeling. I really liked making things in 3D, like the geometries. And so I made the Enterprise, you know, as you can see. I actually made this after uni. I did a few things, 3D projects in university, that is. But I really got taken in by 3D modeling. I really liked it. What I always fell down with though was the texturing. Even though I've done okay here with the texturing here, but the thing is, texturing is much more. Thank you, Judge Groovy Man. The texturing is much more traditional art. So you're making 2D stuff, you know, which is just like making stuff in Photoshop, right? Here I've made an Oberth class starship, so you can tell I'm a bit of a massive Trekkie. So I made this Oberth class ship, which is a science vessel, the USS Sagan, because I was very into Carl Sagan. You know, I was watching Cosmos for the first time when I made this, and yeah. So I think I did alright with this, but this took a lot of work, and ultimately it kind of just... It was nice how you made something, you can show a picture of it, you can render it, but it's just static there, you know. Even if you make an animation, you've just made an animation, and there it is, you know. But so I came back to game making eventually, because it was what I always really wanted to do, and I kind of got just distracted by the shiny 3D model stuff, you know. And I would tend to just remake things that already exist. I was never that visually creative with stuff. So here I'm making a Type 6 shuttlecraft, because of course I am, you know. But I may do some 3D. I was thinking for the Space Cards game, I may do some 3D modeling for the spaceships, and I may use some like low poly and low res texture stuff to. Yeah, and I have here a bit of an elite ship, which I never finished, the Eagle. So yeah, then I got into game development properly in around the time I started my YouTube channel, really, and the rest is, you know, history, which I covered mostly in my previous question and answer thing. So yeah, it kind of is my childhood dream, and I'm finally doing it at 40. So I mean, I started doing it almost 10 years ago, but yeah, I have done some other programming. So I've done some freelance programming, although most of that has been game development related, like making educational games. If you're interested in that, you can look on my website. But that's all been to sort of, you know, just to make money. It's not really my passion. But making my own games, it's funny that programming is the only thing I can do consistently when I get pissed off with it. So I get annoyed with any creative process, and then I stop doing it. You know, I'll just give up because it's just too annoying, which is what happened with 3D modeling. But with programming, when it pisses me off and I get tired of it, I still keep doing it. You know, it's the only thing I can keep doing when it annoys me. So I think that makes it something I'm supposed to do, you know. I got more into art when my brain didn't flex well with code until much later. My grandparents to thank for my love for pixel art and the like, as they got me my Atari ST 520 with a bunch of art packages. That's awesome, Gabriel. That's really cool. If you've got some stuff to show, then feel free to go into the Discord and put it in the promote your stuff channel. The Discord link is in the Twitch panels somewhere. Yeah, thank you, Arcturus. It's 3D modeling. It's really, it can be really satisfying. Blender is a really good free program to do 3D modeling in. I'd recommend trying that. In a game I made from scratch was a bizarre multiple choice football game where you can turn into players from other teams and kick off too. That's cool. Programming Stockholm Syndrome. What? Okay. Oh yeah, we have another question. Why is there a portal to the underworld in your fridge? I'm not sure, but I will have to check on that later and get back to you. So, hopefully I'll have an update for you in the YouTube video when this goes up. But yeah, if you want to ask a question like this and have it covered on a later stream, then pop over to Patreon, my Patreon, and if you're the Jim Answers Questions tier or above, then you can ask a question. So obviously you can ask any question you want in the chat right now and I'll answer it as well as I can, but you know, for a thorough answer, this is the way to go. Anyway, I think that was everything, so let's get back to the making of a video game. Thank you, Albionium, and you're welcome. Oh, you did a robot for Project Osiris, cool. Oh wow, you've handed in your notice at work to pursue indie game dev. That's amazing. That is super awesome. And good luck to you, Gabriel. I wish you the best. And yeah, if you got a Twitter and that, just, you know, I'll follow and stuff. And yeah, that's amazing. Saw a portal in a fridge at Meow Wolf. I don't know what that is. Okay, what am I doing? That's the question. So we've resolved the problem of actions. The Mega Meow! Thank you, Cat Peasant. Marvellous. Separation of cards and actions. So I've done that now. Actions and that. Yeah, so I've dealt with all the problems. So, I guess we can just start adding more cards. That's a good way to go, right? Yeah. So, what kind of cards do we want to add? Or should we start working on the systems and bridge crew stuff? That's I want to do it as a career because I have to consider what large numbers particularly want to play would annoy me. Well, that's the funny thing, City of Words. I think making a mainstream game is a lot harder than making a niche game these days. I was listening to the Fail Masterclass by the guys at Introversion, who made Prison Architect, among other things, Uplink. They were saying that if you make something generic, like not something generic, something mainstream, like a first-person shooter, or something that's in vogue, like the what's it called? Battle Royale. I mean, it's not anymore, but it was. You're competing with the big developers, right? But if you make something niche, then you can attract a smaller but dedicated audience, and that can be enough to keep the interest necessary to sustain an indie developer. So it's really a place to flourish, I think, potentially. At least more likely to flourish than trying to compete at the big games with the big game development studios, Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, that's a lot of scary shit, Gabriel. I wish you both the best of luck. I hope it works out. But yeah, fortune favors the bold. So they say. Yeah. So, What other kind of cards do we want to implement? Let's see. So we have a list here. So we can do... We have shield boost, just as a thing. Evasive maneuvers. We could implement evasion as a game mechanic. I mean, they have the NFTL, right? You know, like, you just have a basic evasion level, and it's the chance that any attack will miss. Disrupt enemy systems. Draw cards. Let's just implement a card draw mechanic. That's probably... because we're going to need that, right? So let's make a new action element of card draw. Okay, and this is a target type of self, and we need to make a new action element type. So we'll make that here. So that's just an enum. So draw cards. Okay, and wait for it to compile. Draw cards. Okay, now we need to make a card to actually... No, we need to make an action. Action. Draw cards. So... We'll drag that in. And how many cards do we want to draw? Let's say 2. And we'll call this draw 2 cards. Animator. I guess there wouldn't be an animator for drawing cards. Not a view screen animator, anyway. So, we probably need a way to handle there not being an animator and it not, like, breaking everything. Because right now that would just be an awkward null reference exception. Don't you hate those? I do. So, let's head into the action handler. Animate current actions. So we need to check and see. Resolve action. Okay. Where does it get the animation? Animate current actions. Where's the animation happening? I think it's in view screen. Here we go. Play animation. Okay. So it's getting the animation from here. So let's have an if statement. If animation is null, then I guess we just want to skip ahead to finish view screen animation. That makes sense. And then stick an else in here. This should be refactored because we should really have these as 2 separate things. Yeah, so this should be play animation. It's not really about playing the animation. Actually, okay, I'm doing something different. So the problem is, I was going to do it that way, where the view screen would handle whether an animation is played or not. But if there's no animation to play, it doesn't make any sense to call a function called play animation or do anything with the view screen. So really, this should... we should check it here in action handler. Under animate current action. Okay, wait. No. Before animate current action, now here is where we're going to check. So if actions current action index animated data equals null, that's the wrong equals. So if there's no animation to do, then we simply skip to resolve action on animation finish. Which now doesn't make sense, the function name, so much, because, you know, there's no animation to finish. So it could just be resolve action, but, yeah. I'm not sure. Okay. We'll leave that as it is for now. So now we need to add a new if thingy here to check for card draw action element type. And the target ship needs to draw cards. This is a bit... Okay, so the ship isn't drawing cards. It's the player. So... wait a minute. Scene references, instance, hand. I guess it's hand? Or is it dealer? I think it's dealer. So deal cards. The number of cards we want to do is the action magnitude, which is the number of cards to draw specified by the action. I think that makes sense. Yeah. I think that might just work. We need to actually create the card and add it to... Yeah, we need to create the card, so we haven't done that yet. We've created the action element, we've created the action itself, now we need to create the card. So let's just call it draw cards. This will have more flavour to it. There'll be something like, you know, like in Hearthstone, for example, you have something like the mage class has arcane intellect, which draws 2 cards for 3 mana. And it's not just a card called draw cards, but we can come up with a sci-fi justification for it. Let's just put something. Just put the placeholder in there, and we'll add the action of, excuse me, draw cards, and then we just need to put it in the card data references. There's so many. Your captain has a plan. Draw 2 cards to see the plan. The most important thing is the element of surprise. Surprise! Click. Everyone falls out of the ship. Yeah, Zap Brannigan. Yeah. Zap Brannigan. Yeah. Welcome, Stewface, by the way. I don't know if you said something before, but welcome anyway. If I didn't say hello to you, I don't think I said hello to you. So, right, we need to make a reference to the card. See, there's so many... This is part of the problem I had before, actually, because I want to make a new card, right? So I have to make the action element, I have to make the action, I have to make the card data, I have to make the card data reference, and then I have to put it in the deck. Like, that's a lot, right? But that's necessary if you're going to separate all these concerns. Because now we never need to make the draw card element again. We never need to make the draw card action again. Did on last stream made a suggestion to put disclaimer on because you liked it. Yeah. Yeah, Holly's pretty good at impressions. I am less good. We'll say that. It depends on the impression. I can do a good Crichton. Crichton from Red Dwarf, not Crichton from Farscape. So... Oh, we still have use magic shield exploding device from before. Still not a real card. Draw cards. There we go. So, now we just need to put it in the deck. So let's swap out one of these. And there we go. Also, in... I think that should just work. Let's try. Okay, here we have draw cards. It looks like a shield books, but it's not. It worked! It kind of worked. It left this up here. I don't know what. Whoa, okay. This is interesting. Look at this. Pew, pew, so much pew. Why is this happening? I broke everything. No. I bet I know why. So, look at the console. Oof. Yes. I think what's happening is full auto, yeah. I think what's happening is it's not handling the deck being empty at all. So let me just try that again and get rid of all our cards. Actually, no, even better than that. Let's change the draw cards, the card draw to 1. Just for now. Always love telling you that when they ever hear an animal sound in a movie. Most of the time it's just Frank Welker doing an impression of an animal. Yeah. Someone's doing owl impressions. Okay, that drew a card. Okay, it's still doing that. Why is this happening? Okay, does that happen if I play anything or just if I play the card draw first? Let's just do fire lasers. Okay, that works. Draw card. It stays here. Why? That's weird. Why is this happening, damn it? Okay, let's just need to run through our code and see what happens. Okay, so card player. Attempt to play card, play card. Move currently playing card to discard. Oh! It's because of this. The card only gets moved to discard when the animation is finished. But the animation never finishes because there is no animation. So, yeah. So we need a way to call this even though nothing happens. Okay, I know why this is happening. So, in action handler... Yeah, it's this. Wait, no. What is it? So it's because we do this, because we resolve the action without calling the event that happens at the end of the animation, which I think gets called when we do play animation, finish view screen animation. There we go. Yeah, because it's this. So, how do we resolve this? It's not even a joke, by the way. Like, how would you get a dad to sound distressed on cue? Or a tiger to sound angry? Just get a human to do it. Yeah. I would like to recant my earlier suggestion about a comment and frequency parameter. I hadn't clicked you were building a deck there. Makes perfect sense just to add a card twice. Yeah. I mean, in that case, actually, I wasn't building a deck. That was a list of actions for the enemy to use. So that the enemy won't have cards, because that's an abstraction for the sake of the player. But the enemy will just have a list of actions it can use. So in that case, it didn't make sense, at least in a good design, to have more than one action added to a list of potential actions. Is dad an animal? I mean, depends who's dad. Yeah. So here I've got a problem because could be a dog dad. Yeah. Son of a bitch. Yeah. Here I've got a problem because my system is too rigid, so it's kind of expecting an animation to happen on the view screen. If it doesn't, then it's kind of left. Things don't get tied up properly. Now, this is probably bad coding, but I don't know how else to do this, because you have to work with events in Unity, you know, for one thing to follow another. Kind of seems like enemy action is conceptually very different to play a deck. Yes, because the enemy doesn't have a hand of cards. You know, it's not like Hearthstone. The enemy just has a series of actions it can use. Now, I could do that. I could give the enemies a list of cards, but I think that's overcomplicating it. You know, I think that there should be different ways to handle what the enemy is doing than what the player is doing, unless I wanted to make this a symmetrical multiplayer game. You know, but the music that's just playing now is from Into the Breach, and that is a very that is a game that could never be multiplayer in its current design, because it's all about telegraphing, and the enemy types could the enemies have very different kinds of attacks than the humans. So and that's the way I'm thinking of it, at least in this way. If we did want a multiplayer version, then the enemy wouldn't be an enemy, they'd be another player, so they'd have their own deck. And the way I've got this working, I think I could make it work potentially, but anyway, I'm getting distracted. The problem here is that this, I'm getting confused with my own stuff. Subscribe to animation finish view screen animation, which then calls this, which can be subscribed to here from elsewhere. Where is this subscribed to? Move. Yeah, so move currently playing card to discard, which wasn't happening, you see, because it was right there, is only happening when this function is called, which is only called from finish view screen animation, which never plays if no animation is played. So we need to go back here, and I guess here we need to decide whether we want to subscribe to the view screen animation finish or just move the card to discard after a delay. Maybe we don't want to do that anyway. So the card, I want the card to stay in that area for a certain amount of time, regardless of whether there's an animation. Because you want to sort of multiplayer into the breach, but the player is punished for not doing the same move predicted on the other player's previous turn. That's actually a clever mechanic, but yeah, it's the whole telegraphing thing makes that it's an interesting idea. So like the other player could only cheat so many times, you know, without like suffering damage or. Yeah, but I saw a GDC talk about how difficult that made the game design with the telegraphing. It made every level into a puzzle game essentially. Really good game though. Okay, so instead of doing this, instead of subscribing to the view screen animation finish, what I'm going to do instead is make it a delay. So we're going to run a coroutine, which is the simplest way I know to make a delay. So move currently playing card to discard after delay. Let's yield, return, you wait for seconds, let's just say 3 seconds, and then move currently playing card to discard. So, excuse me, all this does is when you run it as a coroutine like this, it will just wait for 3 seconds and then do this. Commenting out code is bad. I'm going to change it later. That's hopefully. Let's see if that works. It should work. Only problem is if the animation takes longer than 3 seconds. That's why I left it at 3. So yeah, because if the animation... let's try it. Okay, that works, but it doesn't stop the interaction. Wait a minute. Yeah, I've broken it. Okay. Because... oh no, it does work with fire lasers. Huh. Yeah, that's too long. Let's make that 2 seconds. And then... let me know if the music's too loud. Okay. Is that really 2 seconds? 0, 1, 2. Kinda, yeah. Alright. Let's just get through the deck. Draw cards. So it happens instantaneously. So, I need to try something. Because it doesn't block the interaction while it's paused. I thought it would. There must be a reason why it's not. So, yeah, I can immediately... oh, look, and I break it. Yeah, that's no good. Okay. Why doesn't... Move currently playing card to disc... okay, it must be on... so... block interaction is called when we play a card, right? So that until the card playing is done, it won't be re-enabled again. Enable interaction is called from subscribe to actions finished. So on actions finished. It's because we're resolving the action immediately rather than waiting. Okay, this is where everything starts to get muddled. So, oh dear. The problem I'm having now, coding is hard, is that we've decoupled the animation from the card playing event. So previously the animation starting and ending, so while the animation is playing of the ship firing or the shields recharging, you can't interact with the hand and the card stays in view while it's being resolved. But now there's no animation, so instead, as far as this class is concerned, the action finishes immediately, but as far as the discard mechanic is concerned, it doesn't finish immediately. So we have this decoupling of time. So one way to solve this, the bad way to solve this, is to add another wait function in here to wait another 2 seconds in 2 different places. The problem with that is if one changes, they get out of sync. The animation of what? The card... Yeah, so the ship... So every action so far has had a corresponding view screen animation. The card draw does not have a view screen animation for obvious reasons. It's just drawing cards. There could be some kind of, flash or some kind of something, but right now it doesn't. So because there's no animation, the animation is what was tied to the blocking of the interaction with the hand and the discarding of the card. Those have both become decoupled from each other because they were both coupled through the animation itself. So now I need to decide how to deal with that. I probably don't want the animation to be the thing that determines the flow of cards and stuff, but maybe I do. Maybe there should be like a dummy animation. Now that's a bit bad, just like have some non-animation happen, but nevertheless take time so that it kind of forms the basis of this delay effect where where we see the card play, we see the card appear on the top left like this while the animation's happening, and then it gets thrown away. Yeah. I think what we really need is, because the card draw is kind of instantaneous, we don't need any delay of interaction with the hand after the draw, not really. Maybe a little delay, but we do need the delay to be tied to the view screen animation for the cards that have a view screen animation. So that means here we need to do one of these. We need to either subscribe to the view screen animation finish, the discarding of the card, or just do it as a delay, depending on whether it has an animation. So maybe we should have a way to check the card to see if it has an animation. Public bool. Whoops. Has animation. So to test this, we need to look at the card data. No, we need to look at the dictionary. Yes, so we need to look at the action animation dictionary. Get animation from action. Card data dot actions. Oh. It can have multiple actions. So let's just do this. Action. Yeah. Shit. How do we do this? Okay, we need a list of actions from the card data. Like that. And then we need to check each one. For each action in actions. We'll try to see if there's an animation. Okay. This isn't going to work either. No. We just need to check the last action. Wait, because the problem is if there's two actions, like the double shot, right? No. All we need to know if it has any animations at all. So if animation does not equal null, return true. And then if we've gone through all of this, if we've gone through every action and found no animations, we return false. If we let's rename this. Do any actions have animations? So this is just telling us, do any of the actions have animations? And if any of them do, if card has any animations, then we subscribe to the view screen animation finish for when we're discarding the cards. Otherwise, we do it as a delay, and we'll do it 1.5 seconds. Oops. And this we can change later. So now we handle cards differently depending on... Thank you, Albionium. I'm glad you think so. I hope so, because I'm going to have to read it later and figure out what the hell I was doing. That's the idea. Okay. I think that might work. So, fire lasers. Yeah, it won't let us interact. Draw cards. Also won't let us interact. Although I can't tell because actually it did let us interact. Okay, oh, let's try that again. So I'm going to spam click to see if it will let me draw cards and do something else. It did. Okay, so I did something wrong. But the view screen animation thing is working. The problem is just here. Right. Oh, the problem is, because I've decided to resolve the action immediately, rather than wait for an animation to finish. No, but that's not a problem, is it? That's not a problem because we're just drawing a card. We don't need anything to be delayed. Oh no, we do because of the discarding. Because this stays up here for a second and then gets discarded, which means if I just click through before it goes away, then we get that problem here where we have two cards in the discard pile and only one of them gets done, and then there's a null reference exception. Oh man, this is complicated. Yeah, so this is how code can get ugly. This is how code spaghettifies. So what I could do here is just have another conditional where it asks, where it decides to wait before resolving. It should always wait before resolving, before it disappears from the play area. So we probably want to eventually decouple the view screen animation from any animation. So the animation that I want to be... There will be an animation associated with the playing of every card, whether it's just the cards sort of appearing there in the play area on the top left, like up here, or so like this should count as an animation as well as this. That's the way to do it. It should always wait for the animation to finish, but sometimes the animation isn't view screen, it's just card animation. You like all the decoupling. Thank you, Judge Guru, man. I'm gonna make a note of this because, okay, so problem. Animation. Oh, let's see. View screen animation is being used to disable and enable hand interaction. Cards with no view screen animation break this. Need to tie hand interaction blocking and enabling to a generic animation / delay based on the view screen and the card animation itself. Does that make sense? So it needs to wait until the card is finished playing, in sense of like moving out of your hand and like appearing there, because when I'm doing the way the game will look properly is the card won't just appear up there, it will sort of fly up out of your hand and disintegrate or do something fun, and it shouldn't let you play a card until after that is done. So like the interaction with the hand will go dark or something, and they won't flicker like that, and there won't be an outline or whatever. And that way we can make sure that we don't have any overlapping interactions of cards. I think that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, it's been 2 hours, and I hope that's been interesting, and I hope it made sense. I hope I explained that relatively well. And it's been great to have you all here again. And yeah, I'm quite pleased with some of the decoupling that has been going on. What did we do today? We got the actions separated from whether they're an enemy or a player type action. All actions can be used by enemies and players. The animation is determined by a dictionary. Thank you, Albionium. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, I'm curious if any viewers who are not into coding, are you finding this interesting? Because I hope I'm sort of trying to explain it as I go, but it's kind of hard to know what to explain, how much detail to go into. Will enemies have an inner light style probe that makes you experience 40 years in another video game? You know, that sounds insane, but also awesome. Like the captain's incapacitated by, you know, you'd have to, oh yeah, like the enemy does like a psychic attack which causes your player to have to like solve a puzzle or play through some weird other game in order to get out. I'm putting disclaimer on that because that's a brilliant fucking idea. That's really clever. Like, can you imagine that? Like, you come up against some weird alien thing and it throws something at the screen and then the whole game changes. That would be such a head fuck. That's brilliant. That's actually brilliant. Enforcer Spaghetti, hello. Welcome. But yeah, I'm just going now. But yeah, I'm glad you found it interesting. It's inspiring. Thank you, Judge Goof, man. Okay. Alright, so I'll see you all here, hopefully, next Thursday. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. And thank you everyone for watching. See you next week. Bye now.